Ever lace up a pair of those bold, chunky high tops and feel like you could take on the world, or at least the neighborhood basketball court? The crisp squeak of fresh rubber on the gym floor, that satisfying snap of Velcro or the tug of tightly laced eyelets instantly brings back a rush of 90s energy. High-top sneakers weren't just shoes, they were statements. From neon accents to wild patterns, every pair seemed to shout out your allegiance to a favorite brand, athlete, or musical icon. You might recall the thrill of opening a shoebox and catching that new sneaker smell, knowing you were ready to jump higher, dance harder, or simply strut through school halls with a bit more swagger. For many, these shoes were a ticket to fitting in or standing out, sometimes both at once. Did you ever save allowance, mow lawns, or beg for the latest release just to get your hands on that coveted pair? Those sneakers became woven into our stories, capturing the restless spirit and flashy fun of the decade. So what made these high tops more than just footwear? And why do so many of us still miss slipping them on? Let's lace up and step back into a time when our sneakers were bigger, bolder, and maybe just a little bit magical. Let's set the scene. The late 1980s rolling into the early 1990s, the airwaves pulsed with the sound of hip-hop and early grunge. VHS tapes lined living room shelves, and arcades buzzed with excitement. Fashion was louder, bigger, and unapologetically expressive, and footwear was no exception. But what you wore on your feet wasn't just about comfort or necessity. Sneakers, especially the high-top variety, were swiftly morphing into powerful symbols of personality and status. So how did high tops become the undisputed king of 90s footwear, and why did that chunky silhouette capture a generation? To truly appreciate the era of 90s high tops, it helps to remember that the sneaker revolution didn't spring up overnight. In the earlier decades, athletic shoes were fairly utilitarian: white canvas, rubber soles, and not much else. It wasn't until the seismic shift of the 1980s, fueled by the rise of sports superstars and young designers hungry for innovation, that the sneaker landscape began to evolve dramatically. High-top sneakers, defined by their above-the-ankle cut and reinforced support, made a significant leap from basic gym gear to coveted street style, bridging sports and culture in a way few fashion items had before. One key turning point came with the emergence of basketball as both a televised sport and a cultural juggernaut. The NBA grew rapidly in popularity in the late 80s, and kids everywhere mimicked their idols on driveways and playground courts. Athletes like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Charles Barkley were not just heroes, they were walking advertisements for athletic brands. The iconic launch of the Air Jordan 1 in 1985 had set a precedent, and the sneaker world took notice. Colorful, high-collared shoes could make headlines, sell out stores, and even stir controversy. Did you know that the original Air Jordan was actually banned by the NBA for violating uniform codes? That only added fuel to its mythic status, making high tops synonymous with breaking the rules and daring to stand out. By the time the 90s dawned, high tops were more than a practical accessory for ankle support. They were a ticket into youth culture. Multiple brands jumped into the fray. Nike, Reebok, Converse, Fila, and Adidas rolled out their own high-top versions, each competing to outdo the others with new technology, brighter colors, and bolder endorsements. Suddenly, every television ad and magazine featured slow-motion shots of sneakers crunching on the hardwood court, and almost every kid dreamed of soaring toward the basket, feet encased in something special. But basketball wasn't the whole story. As street basketball and hip-hop exploded in urban centers, the high-top sneaker became a canvas for self-expression. Graffiti artists, breakdancers, and young style icons took the look far beyond the gym. It's no exaggeration to say that high tops were the heartbeat of street fashion for a whole generation. The tall collars weren't just hiding socks, they were giving you attitude. Surprising fact, some early 90s high-top designs featured built-in pouches or secret compartments for stashing cash or keys, which only added to their mystique. Looking back, it's easy to see why high tops hit their stride at this cultural moment. They emerged as bold statements just as young people were beginning to demand more from what they wore: more color, more comfort, more character. Is there a specific pair you remember longing for, or a moment when you finally got to slip them on for the first time? Many people recalled circling model numbers in wish books or spending hours wandering the rows of their local shoe stores, analyzing every available pair. Yet, behind the color and the hype, there's an interesting twist. Some of the roots of high-top sneakers stretch even further back, to the earliest days of organized basketball. Converse All Stars, first produced in 1917, were actually among the first high-top sneakers, and by the 1950s almost every professional basketball player wore them. But it wasn't until advanced materials and marketing magic collided in the late 80s and 90s that the high-top's modern form, thicker soles, padded collars, neon trims, truly took hold. Big moments helped define the era too. Think of 1992's Dream Team at the Barcelona Olympics. High tops dominated the team's feet and countless playground courts around the US in the following months. Or consider the boom in cross-training shoes inspired by athletes who didn't stick to just one sport. New releases like the Reebok Pump, with its inflatable tongue technology, signaled that this was an era where innovation and boldness were celebrated, not hidden away. Want to guess how many kids sat in homerooms, mashing the pumps on their shoes just for fun, even if they never played a minute of organized basketball? Of course, the story isn't just about sports, technology, or even fashion. It's about how these shoes wove into the fabric of daily life. High tops became the go-to footwear for countless first days of school, family photos, and school dances. How many people put on their brightest pair for a weekend trip to the mall, a local movie night, or just to feel a little cooler walking down the block? There's something about that era's sneakers, maybe the way they hugged your feet, or the way they transformed a simple outfit into something unforgettable that still lingers in memory. But the early 90s set the foundation, turning sneakers from a background detail into the centerpiece of youth identity. As the decade rolled on, high tops only got wilder and more expressive, and brands scrambled to keep up with the ever-changing tastes of young America. And just when it seemed like the style couldn't get any bigger, new breakthroughs in sneaker technology and design would send everything to the next level. So, what was it about the look and feel of 90s high tops that made them so magnetic? And how did the sneaker industry channel the restless creative spirit of the times into functional works of art? As we lace up for our next step, we'll dive into the technological innovations and wild features that pushed these sneakers far beyond their humble roots. Get ready, because the bells and whistles of the 90s high tops are a story all their own. As we loosen those high top laces one last time and take a step back, it's impossible not to smile at the memories bound up in those bright, chunky sneakers of the 1990s. Throughout our journey, we've walked through the vibrant historical backdrop that gave birth to the high-top phenomenon, from the first moments these shoes left the hardwood and hit the blacktop, to the explosion of new technology and wild design that cemented their place in youth culture. We remembered how the likes of Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Penny Hardaway took these sneakers from mere accessories to full-blown icons, beaming out from TV screens and posters across the country. We saw how brands jockeyed for the next big thing, pumps that hissed with every squeeze, flashes of neon and metallics, and collaborations with musicians and artists that made every new sneaker drop an event. Beyond the brand, wars and high-flying endorsements we touched on how high tops became an unmistakable part of everyday life. First days of school, sticky summer afternoons at the mall, darting through the halls to catch the bus, or feeling just a little taller and bolder as you strutted past your friends. For many of us, those shoes marked personal milestones, a first allowance spent, a birthday wish granted, a reward for making the team, or acing an exam. Each scuff and crease seemed to tell its own story. Looking back now, the true magic of 90s high tops lies not just in their style, technology, or even the star athletes who wore them, but in their ability to pull us together and express the moods and aspirations of an entire generation. They were in some ways a wearable time capsule, reminders of when the world felt big and hopeful, when a new pair of sneakers was enough to turn an ordinary day into something special. Maybe it was the way they made you feel unstoppable, or the quiet confidence they inspired when you walked out the door. The world has certainly changed since then, but there's an unmistakable bond that comes from remembering those days. Shared glances with classmates in matching kicks, battles over the best color combinations, and the deep satisfaction of finally getting your hands and feet on the pair everyone was talking about. These shoes weren't just about fitting in or standing out. They were about expressing who you wanted to be and sharing that excitement and creativity with those around you. So now, I'd love to hear from you. What pair of 90s high tops do you remember most vividly, and what special moments do you associate with them? Maybe you wore them to your first concert, or saved up all summer for that one release. Share your favorite high top memories in the comments below. Those stories are what keep the spirit of this era alive. If you enjoyed walking down memory lane with us, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you won't miss our next nostalgic adventure. And if you have friends who appreciate the colorful, bold days of the 90s, why not share this video and reminisce together? We've got more trips back in time coming soon. Whether they're tucked away in an old closet or just living on in our memories, 90s high tops remind us that sometimes the best adventures in life start with nothing more than lacing up your favorite shoes, stepping outside, and letting your spirit run free.